Before we jump in, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our deep dives on film transformations, boxing biopics, and the training camps behind the headlines. Then drop a comment. After seeing this level of commitment, do you think Sydney Sweeney should be in the awards conversation for Christie? Sydney Sweeney just delivered the most dramatic physical and athletic transformation of her career, and she unveiled it on the most public stage possible. At the Los Angeles premiere of Christie, the actress dazzled on the red carpet while introducing audiences to her raw, ring-worn portrayal of boxing legend Christy Martin. The premiere wasn't just another star turn. It marked the culmination of months of intense training, a complete body overhaul, and a bruising education in what it takes to look and move like a world-class fighter. Christy is Sweeney's first major boxing role, and she approached it with a seriousness that surprised even some who followed her ascent from prestige TV to blockbuster features. To bring Christy Martin's power, posture, and presence to life, Sweeney changed her body completely, as she told Entertainment Tonight. She muscled up and gained roughly 13 kilos, around 30 pounds, not as a cosmetic stunt, but to look like an athlete who can sit down on her shots, absorb punches, and go 10 hard rounds. "I got really strong, incredibly strong," she said, smiling in disbelief at her own numbers. That kind of result doesn't happen by accident. It starts in the kitchen. Sweeney told Variety that she ramped up calories dramatically to fuel 2 and sometimes 3 training sessions per day. "We increased my calorie intake and I started having a lot of protein shakes and supplements, and eating everything," she explained. "The menu wasn't all steamed chicken and greens, either. I was eating a lot of Smuckers, a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, milkshakes, just constantly eating because we were so active." She even leaned on Chick-fil-A runs when she needed dense, fast calories. The logic was simple. With that training volume, her body was burning through fuel as fast as she could replace it. "I was burning off all the excess fat constantly at the same time. So keeping up was quite a challenge." From a performance standpoint, the diet and the scale were a means to an end. On screen, Sweeney had to look credible at range and in the pocket. Hands up, elbows in, chin tucked, weight over the balls of her feet. She trained like a fighter, not an actor trying to look like one. Camp days started with steady-state cardio or pad work, shifted into mitts and drills, and often ended with strength sessions to build the upper back and leg power that drives real punches. Foley artists can sweeten sound. Cinematographers can help sell speed. But in boxing, there's nowhere to hide. The jab either pops or it doesn't. The left hook either turns the hips or it doesn't. Sweeney wanted the kind of snap that sells a close-up. That level of realism comes with a price. "I got my ass kicked," she said bluntly when asked what the training felt like. During rehearsals for the film set piece, the 2003 fight where Christy Martin shared a ring with Layla Ali, the daughter of Muhammad Ali, Sweeney took a real shot that left her with a huge black eye. For a lesser performer, that might have derailed the schedule. For Sweeney, it became part of the process. She felt the snap of a clean punch, the surprise pain, and the swirl of adrenaline fighters learn to ride. She also felt the reality behind the glamour people project onto boxing. You don't learn to look brave without occasionally getting hurt. The decision to live inside the rhythm of a fighter's life came from a personal place. Sweeney has a background in combat sports, wrestling and kickboxing from age 12 to 19, and she's been open about how much she missed the grind. "I was eager to get back in the ring, to train and transform my body," she said. That foundation didn't just give her a head start on mechanics. It gave her the emotional memory of competition. She's felt what it's like to work tired, to try new patterns under pressure, to take a correction in one round and execute it in the next. For Christy, she turned those instincts up to 11. What makes this transformation resonate beyond the gym is the gravity of the story she's telling. Christy Martin isn't just a former world champion. She's a pioneering figure who pushed women's boxing onto big stages decades before it became Olympic. Her fights drew headlines. Her life, marked by triumphs in the ring and profound struggles outside of it, changed conversations about resilience, identity, and survival. "Over the past few months, I have been immersed in training to bring to life the story of an incredible woman," Sweeney said. "A true champion who fought battles both inside and outside the ring." She didn't sugarcoat the assignment. Christy Martin's story is not exactly light. It is physically and mentally demanding, but I love to challenge myself. Sweeney's admiration for the real-life champion comes through every time she talks about the project. Her journey is a testament to resilience, strength, and hope, she said, and it is an honor for me to step into her shoes to share her powerful story with all of you. That respect informed everything, from how she drilled fundamentals to how she framed the person behind the gloves. In the footage we've seen so far, Sweeney doesn't mimic Martin. She channels her. The squared-up stance, that steady center of gravity, the hands-high pressure that made Christy Martin difficult to discourage even when she was taking fire. Physically, the transformation is stark. On premiere night in Los Angeles, Sweeney's look reminded fans that the glamour and the grit can exist in the same frame. She cut a classic red carpet silhouette and then stepped into interviews reeling off training details like a prizefighter after a weigh-in. That duality is part of why this performance is getting attention. Hollywood loves the idea of an all-in transformation. What set this one apart is that it didn't feel like a stunt. It felt like an athlete making weight, and then going again. Boxing coaches who've worked with actors often stress that the hardest thing to teach is the small stuff. How to breathe, how to feint without giving away your intentions, how to move on your exits without crossing your feet. Those are not Instagram moments. They are, however, the difference between a glossy montage and a fight that passes the smell test with fans. The word from set is that Sweeney obsessed over those details. She drilled slip-roll counter-series until they lived in her body, practiced parries by the hundreds, and spent hours on the double-end bag learning to hit what's moving. That focus showed up on camera. The nutrition side, Chick-fil-A, PB&JS, protein shakes, milkshakes, will inevitably be the headline, because audiences are fascinated by the extremes actors adopt for roles. But if you've been around gyms, you know why a boxer's diet sometimes includes foods that wouldn't make a wellness influencer's feed. When training loads are high and sessions are stacked, the priority is getting enough calories to recover, rebuild, and return the next day with energy. That doesn't mean it's all sugar. It means caloric density matters. Sweeney's transparency about how messy that process can be, just constantly eating, helps demystify the way real athletes fuel under pressure. There's also a science to gaining 30 pounds and still moving like a boxer. That weight can't be dead mass. It needs to be functional. In the legs for pushing off, in the hips for rotation, in the back for posture and clinch strength. The arms get stronger, sure, but the true power in a punch starts from the floor. Sweeney's training reportedly emphasized compound lifts, sled pushes, rotational core work, and banded resistance to build a fighter's body that can punch in bunches and maintain output. Cardio didn't vanish, it adapted. Road work, intervals, and rope all served the choreography and the pace of the fight scenes. One reason this project is drawing excitement is how it intersects with the current moment in the fight game. Women's boxing is experiencing a boom at the top level, with undisputed champions and super fights landing in arenas and on major platforms. A Christy Martin biopic connects the present to one of the women who fought for nights like these to be possible. Casting a mainstream star who is willing to pay the physical toll to portray that legacy accurately is good for the sports story, not just its box office. And let's talk about that 2003 Christy Martin vs. Layla Ali fight. At the time, it was a cultural event, Layla carrying the Ali name into a ring where women were still fighting for equal footing. Christy Martin bringing her warrior spirit and reputation for blood and guts action. Ali scored a fourth-round TKO, but the subtext was bigger. Women's boxing could command attention and carry the drama that fans crave. Recreating that kind of moment requires more than a great costume. It requires the actors to understand why a feint mattered in that exchange, why a foot adjustment changed an angle, why a combination landed. Sweeney's black eye wasn't an accident. It was part of capturing the danger. It's worth noting how Sweeney speaks about Christy Martin, not as a two-dimensional hero, but as a full person. A woman who faced so much adversity and didn't let it defeat her, she said. The film, by all indications, doesn't shy away from the hardest chapters of Martin's life, including abuse and trauma. Tackling that on screen requires muscle of a different kind. It asks an actor to hold two truths at once: the tough-as-nails fighter the public adored, and the private person who survived things no one should have to face. Sweeney's track record in emotionally complex roles suggests she's ready for that balance. If you're a fan of Sydney Sweeney's work, the through line here is less surprising than it looks. She regularly chooses roles that demand something visceral. Physically charged scenes, characters under pressure, arcs that require control and intensity. In Christy, those instincts found a new outlet. This time, the body speaks as loudly as the dialogue. The transformation isn't just about bigger biceps. It's about how she occupies space, how she walks to the ring, how she sits on the stool between rounds, how she looks through someone when the bell rings. The risk of a project like this is always the same. Will audiences buy the punch, or just the premise? Based on early reactions from the premiere, the punch landed. Critics singled out the realism of the fight scenes and the way Sweeney's physicality anchors the film. That matters for a movie like Christie, which relies on the audience believing what their eyes see. If the punches look like they come from the floor up, if the clinches look like battles for posture, if the exhaustion looks earned, viewers lean forward. They don't need slow motion to tell them what matters. Away from the glitz of premiere week, the larger question is where this role sits in Sweeney's career arc. Every actor has a project that resets how the industry views them. For some, it's a dramatic turn after a string of comedies. For others, it's stepping into a biopic with all the pressure that brings. Christie looks and feels like one of those moments for Sydney Sweeney. She didn't disappear into a wig and a costume. She rebuilt herself and then tested that build in a ring. The result is a performance you feel in your own shoulders while you watch it. For boxing fans, there's an extra layer of appreciation. When an A-list star shows up respecting the craft, they honor the fighters who lived it. That respect echoes when Sweeney talks about Christy Martin's impact. It echoes when she explains why she took the black eye in stride. It echoes when she lists peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as the unsung heroes of her calorie count. It's hard to fake that kind of love for the work. If you followed this story from the first casting announcement to the Los Angeles premiere, you've seen the commitment escalate. You saw the training clips, rope, mitts, footwork. You saw the first photos of a visibly stronger Sweeney. You saw the press quotes about protein shakes, supplements, Chick-fil-A, and Smuckers. And you saw the black eye. Now you've seen the result, a fully physical role, executed with conviction, wrapped in a message that matters. Resilience. Strength. Hope. So, where do you stand? Does Sydney Sweeney's transformation for Christie change how you think about her range? Do the training details, 3 days, 13 kilos gained, constant eating, constant work, make you more excited to see the film? And how important is it to you that boxing on screen looks and feels like boxing in real life? Sound off in the comments. I want to hear from fight fans, film fans, and anyone who respects the grind. If this breakdown gave you the full picture behind the headlines, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Coming up, we're unpacking the real 2003 Christy Martin vs. Layla Ali bout, the fight choreography that separates great boxing films from average ones, and the nutrition and strength templates actors and athletes use to add functional weight fast. Plus, we'll look at the wave of women's boxing stories hitting screens, and why they're resonating right now. Sydney Sweeney set a high bar with Christie. She didn't just play a boxer. She trained like one, ate like one, and got hit like one, then walked a red carpet like only she can. That's the balance, and that's the headline.